wonderful discussion on all the food
Anybody
we
wants
eat.
some slightly older than date MREs? I
Look,
have.
look, I'm brave enough to say on the recording, I eat yogurt off the blade of a knife. There.
Okay.
That's what we were talking about.
We all just eat food by the handful. We cook raw, doesn't matter. Just scoop it in, lick it off your fingers like a
It's all
raging
the
savage.
same. It's going to be the same at the end.
All right, so I guess we're going to start off with a bit of a simple thing going around the table. We will start off, Mr. Prather. Who are you playing, and what's their deal?
I am playing Tolbo the One Punch Styer.
Tolbo the what?
Tolbo the One Punch Styer.
Did you get that name in the pokey or?
Well, much like so I'm a convict. I've spent about the last 13 years in a hard work camp but essentially I've been given about a life sentence. I'm not expecting to get out anytime soon. Won't go into what Tolbo did. He's a younger man. He's in his like mid 30s. So what? But he did. It's whether he earned the nickname in prison or out has been lost to time. But Tolbo has struck a real presence ever since he was young, because he was born with jet white hair. And I want to remind anyone watching this, all of this was rolled at random. I did not build this weird hardcore seeming character. This all just happened with dice. He's 5'9", he weighs 223 pounds. He's got a huskier build, and I would say by husky, if you didn't see his height from what it was, you may think he's a dwarf. He's built like a tall dwarf. But he has,
like I said, a little fire plug.
He has stark, just pure white hair that he's had ever since he was born. And his eyes, the pupils, the irises are jet black. So basically it's like he has two rings of black that are surrounded by white. And it's very unsettling to look at. He does not, people get upset making eye contact with him.
Cat, it's not about you.
It is about that cat. I will go into that later. That cat's my friend in part. I won't go into his drawbacks and stuff like that. There could be a reason why he looks this way, but Lord knows he doesn't know it. But he came from his mother died giving birth to him. His father, who was a born military engineer who served many campaigns for the king, tried to raise him as best he could. And by best he could, it meant a life of blaming him for his mother's death, drinking, and beating the crap out of him. So he learned two things growing up. One was how to take a punch and throw a punch. And the other was that crime surely paid better than his father's pension ever paid him. So he got involved in a lot of various things. He was very involved in underground fighting. And that's where he learned that, I know how to be punchy. But yeah, like I said, he spent the last, did I say 12, 13 years?
13.
He spent the last 13 years working a prison camp. And he doesn't expect to get out really anytime in his life.
Tax evasion.
So he really is. He
gets all the best of them.
He doesn't say a lot and do just the way he was, because he's always found he's not very smart. So he's found, just with the way he looks in his life at the moment, him not speaking says more than him speaking most of the time.
Mm.
So
okay,
that's Tolbo.
Tolbo, we got him.
Good deal.
Sarah, what do we got?
So I've got Maeve. She's a camp follower. So basically, I guess the old equivalent of civilian people who work alongside the military. She was born into the burger class. Her dad was a doctor. Her mom died when she was pretty young, so not a whole lot of memories of that. And unfortunately, her dad ended up getting conscripted to go help out with war stuff, and as happens with war stuff, he got creamed. So pretty early, she ended up out on her own, and just ended up falling into, due to war being everywhere, it's like, well, what can I do here? Like, I can help out around this war camp, I guess, like, with sort of the basic skills she'd learned at home before. So like cooking and, just like being able to like bandage up stuff. She'd seen her dad help people out. So she has a little bit of background there. She is also exceptionally tall. She's 5'11", 202 pounds. She is considered husky, and much to her chagrin, she has a series of like weird freckles that kind of like look like a mustache from afar. So people are like, is that giant ass woman mustachioed? And she's like, no, this is just my face, okay?
It's like it's melanin. Jeez.
God, deal with it. She's got dark brown hair. She has gray blue eyes. And relatively light complexion. And that's it. That's really it so far.
All right, let me adjust my ramshackle glasses, which should be replaced in another week or so. Yeah, right. Samuel.
Okay.
What are you looking at?
We're looking at Votrik Duskspine.
He is
dusk as in dawn to dusk, or dusk as in dusty? Okay.
Duskspine. He is an adult dwarf of average build, but average by Dwarvish standards, he is subpar. He's a little smaller than you might want or think for a dwarf. But that doesn't mean he's smaller or dinky by normal people's standards. He's got gray hair and kind of an inexplicably older looking face. He's not really sure why, but he has to think that it's probably to all the religious mass and things that his poor parents took him to in his early days. He grew up dirt poor, but his parents always believed that one of the good lords, it didn't matter to them, just one of them would raise their son up to a greater life, which built a certain amount of cynicism in Votrik. So he is an envoy. He kind of crawls his way up from the scum to become an envoy, with minor success here and there, enough to kind of get his name out. But unfortunately, after a recent kind of bad job, he has gained a cropped ear, which means that he cannot hear out of his left ear very well at all. So this is a new recent thing for him, his deafness, and so he's tried to curb it with an ear horn that he is now carried around. He is fashioned, and he has an ear horn for his left ear.
I gotta ask, is that going to be the one item you're going to take? Because I don't think it's covered in the rules, but is that going to be your like little personal signature item instead of the big suit of armor?
Yes. Okay. I like that much better than big suit of armor. Yes, like that's much cooler. So yeah, so he's a poor guy that crawled up, kind of crawled his way to become an envoy. Went good for a while till it went bad very recently, and now he's dealing with his old looking face, his cropped ear, his half deafness, and yeah.
He's like 50 years old, but in dwarf years, but he's like, he looks about 400.
Yeah, he looks like he's just been worn as hell. Just worn as hell. So that might be his poor nutrition growing up.
I remember there was a guy in high school, back when we were all in high school, except for you, Sam. You were but a wee boy. I think he was in Sarah's grade. And life had just kind of not really thrown him a big favor in that he was already really starting to bald.
Huh.
That's what I'm thinking.
I mean, sure.
It's fine. Bald is beautiful. But yeah, I remember there was this one.
But in high school, that's a tough road to hoe.
Yeah. Yeah, that's when you just have to commit to just shaving your head. Get ahead of it and just start shaving it early.
No, you commit to the comb over at that age.
Oh, dear.
It starts here.
I wish I had one of my yearbooks to actually look at, but I don't.
Okay. I guess we can roll into a little bit of a session 0 for everybody. We're basically going to be breaking. We're probably not going to be playing for too long with this because we had a little bit of a late start. Had to do a rules clarification. We'll at least get a little bit of a teaser. So we're going to be starting off with old Maeve.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. You look over here. So yeah, pretty much. We're going to say that you're at the camp.
Okay.
All around you, there's not really any fighting going on. That's something you've kind of noticed as of late. There hasn't been much fighting going on for a couple of weeks, easily going into a month. It's mostly just training, kind of lax that you've noticed. Like, no one's really like. I mean, you, Sarah, you were raised. You've lived around the military for a while. You know how it can be. The NCOs, they're going to be gruff no matter what, but there's serious gruff, and then there's like, I'm just doing my job kind of gruff. It's an I'm just doing my job kind of gruff right now.
Okay.
They're just they're just checking the boxes so that when the officers see them, they're not going to be like, oh, these guys aren't doing anything.
Mm-hmm. You don't want to be the shitbag.
Yeah, right. You don't want to be the shitbag that drags everybody down. Mm-hmm. So like, it's pretty much what's going on. What's been going on as of late. What's Maeve doing at this on this lovely, kind of humid, but not terrible day.
I mean, probably got a pot of something, sort of stewing away somewhere. Maybe trying to see if anybody needs any food or anything.
So, yeah, that's the thing is, outside like a few of like the newer soldiers, it's just mostly just kind of milling about. You've noticed that you're starting to see fewer and fewer regiments like around actually.
Then if I get a chance to like, maybe chat with somebody who looks like they might know what's up, maybe try to, gently ask them what the deal is.
Okay, sure. You let's say, we're going to get a little bit into the rolling just to get get wet your whistle, so to speak. So I'll give you this. You're looking around and you see this one particular soldier. He's got an insignia stamped on his leather jerkin, pretty much around the heart area. That it pretty much signifies, he's an NCO. For you two, that's a sergeant. He's got a couple of guys that he leads. So what do you want to do? Just like what exactly are you trying to get out of him?
I'm just really, I guess, trying to figure out, why business is down. Why are things so quiet if they think anything's, happening or.
Okay, that's cool. We'll consider that a fellowship roll.
All right.
A fellowship roll with rumor if you're trained in it.
I am not trained in rumor.
Okay. So here's how that normally is going to work. You're going to roll your fellowship percentage. What's that?
So wait. So I'm gonna. So my number on here is 45. Okay.
So what that means is you want to aim for 45 or lower. But since this is a great time for me to introduce the basics of how the rules work, I'm going to put a difficulty modifier on that. And I will say that it's fairly routine. Like, it's going to be fairly easy. So add 10 to that. So what's that going to be? 55?
So it's going to be 55 instead. Okay, so I need to be at or below.
Yeah, 55. At or below 55.
Okay. 98, really goofed it.
So here is another thing, since as something that you don't have to use, but it's as good a time as any. Each session we have, and I'm going to count these as a session, there are things called fortune points.
Okay.
The number of fortune points for the group equals the number of players plus 1. So you guys get 4 fortune points.
Okay.
This basically allows you, one of the things that fortune points can do, here's what they can do. You can re-roll a failed skill test like this, but you must accept the outcome. In combat, you can gain an additional AP, which you don't got to worry about right now. Or you can treat a roll D6 Chaos or Fury die as a face value of 6. Again, you don't got to worry about that. This is basically me saying, hey, if you want to spend one of your fortune points, you can go ahead and re-roll. It's going to be fairly low risk right now, just letting you know.
Okay.
So if you want to spend it, have at it. I'm not going to.
Okay, I was gonna say we're not taking a long session anyway. So yeah, let me.
Yeah,
let
this is me
that.
introducing you guys to some of the basic rules. This is the tutorial.
All right.
Press the left stick to make your character look up.
Would you like to invert the axis?
Yeah.
And then press X to pay respects.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so let me do that.
Okay, you spent a fortune point. Now, here's another thing that's going to happen. You know what? I'll cover that later. Go on. Again, I'm not going to fuck you guys over. This is just me just showing you guys the basic rules.
Okay, so 20.
Well, that turns out to be a success. So this sergeant, he's caked in mud, but he doesn't look exhausted. He just looks tired. Yeah, I mean, he's more like, I'm getting kind of sick of this. And he's like, oh, hey, Maeve, what you need?
Just kind of wondering why everything's been so quiet lately here. It seems like there's, not as many people stopping by to get patched up or get fed or whatever. So just kind of wonder what the deal is if you happen to know anything.
He's like, yeah, typical, for the first time in this whole process, the civilians don't know something that we know. So that's kind of fun.
I mean, it's bound to happen every now and then, right?
Usually, hey, usually we're the last ones to know. Military humor. So he's like, no, we got an order from the Lord Duchess that that I'm sticking
of course,
with that.
the Lord Duchess, yes.
Yeah, we got orders going home. War's over. Pretty much the ground's won. Something's been worked out at top.
Oh shit. Okay. I mean, I guess that's, in theory, good. That means I have to figure out something else to do.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty good. Joes are happy. They've been spending the past about the past week just packing their gear, getting ready we're going to be heading down to the capital kind of soon. And then after that, we're all going to get our pay and disperse our separate ways.
Wow.
See what kind of work a soldier can have. I'm sure Bergavost has a wonderful VA program. So
oh no.
This won't be like historically where we usually turn to brigandry or some shit like that.
I mean, you do what you gotta do, honey, right? So well, damn. So you said pretty soon, like, do you have any idea exactly?
CO mentioned maybe within the next week and a half we should be good to go. Seriously, it sucks that you guys weren't kind of mentioned with anything. I mean, you're pretty smart. You're pretty well liked. I'm sure you'll survive.
Yeah, I mean, I've been having to make do for a long time. So yeah, you make it work. But damn. Okay. Well, congratulations, I guess. Hope you're excited.
We survived with all of our fingers intact, right?
I mean, most people did, but I'm still all here so far. So good.
He says, and it occurs to you that he is very much wearing a very old leathery eye patch.
Well, then he's probably had it for a while, right? So...
You can't determine that at this point.
If it's old leather, then maybe.
Maybe it's secondhand. Maybe he was just like, oh, maybe you don't even know he's blonde. Maybe he just picked it up because it looked cool.
Yeah, could be.
Always possible.
Just a weird affectation.
He's like, shit, yeah.
Just one of those guys.
Perception.
Are we now going to meet our new main character, the guy with the leather eye patch?
Look, maybe he wears the eye patch so that if he needs dark vision, he moves it.
Yes, pirate style.
Look, he's a foot soldier. He is not an archer. He does not need depth perception. So
stabbity stab.
So yeah, the rest of the day, you get a few Joes come in, get enough food. No one ever really complains. I mean, it's throw whatever you got together food as it usually is. Following the army. But I mean, you've eaten some really bad stuff that'll get you through the day, and no one's ever really said that about your stuff. Everyone's usually like pretty satisfied, which is good. That being said, towards the end of the night, you end up kind of going back to the civilian section of the camp, and you see a couple of people. Like, you start to notice that the rumors are starting to spread a little bit faster and faster, and everyone's kind of in a bit of a panic, with the exception of a lady about your age named Doris. She seems fairly calm and collected.
Okay. So let me go hit up Doris and see if she knows why people are freaking the fuck out. If it's just because of everything winding down, or
Okay. Yeah. Well, you want to say to Doris?
all right.
She's a little bit older than you. Like, you would say she's probably in her early 40s. A little heavy set. Not all the stuff is as perky as it used to be. But everybody loves her around camp. She basically acts as the barber surgeon. She's, granted, she's lost a lot of people, but she's kept a lot of people alive. Not always with their hands intact, but sometimes it happens. But she's pretty well liked around camp.
All right. Hey, lady. Do you know what's happening around here? Because these people are freaking the fuck out, and I've heard some stuff, maybe. So
she's like,
what do you know?
Here's the problem with people in these kinds of situations, Maeve. There's always going to be war, but not every war lasts forever. Most don't, so they don't plan ahead.
Oh, okay. So they've gotten the news, the trickle down that apparently this thing is done. So
pretty much. Not me. It's not the most respected job, but people would rather lose a leg than die of infection. So,
well, and your stuff can be, this is a transportable skill, right? You can do that kind of stuff just about anywhere. I mean, not that you need as much call for it for sawbones in the city.
Well, I'm
maybe.
probably going to have to get some kind of recommendation from the church, because they're still kind of ooky on that.
Really?
Yeah, desecrating corpses. That's how they look at it. Yay for that kind of stuff. How about you? What's your plan?
Well, it sounds like everyone's sort of, headed toward the city. I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. I've not had a lot of time to think about it, but, I always just figure it out, make it work.
She says, well, what if I told you that there might be, if you're not necessarily interested in, maybe following us, there might be a smaller, less business-focused venture that you might be able to take kind of rolling through kind of soon.
Oh, I would need more info than that, but that might be interesting.
Well, there's a pretty heavily guarded wagon of about 15. They look like some kind of lawmen. They're moving something, but they'll be. I've caught wind that they're going to be stopping in a town nearby, and they're looking for pretty much anybody who knows how to tend to daily survival as they make the journey further down south.
Mm-hmm.
Much smaller than tending to an army. And at this point, some people are already kind of packing up shop and leaving.
Mm-hmm.
The king's probably going to allow them to stay in inns and stuff and just charge it to the throne cat.
Yeah.
And then a cat comes by with 2 eye patches on.
And it's
one looks old and rugged. The other one looks very new and shiny.
Shiny eye patch. Oh my god. Okay. All right. That might be, just something to do for now. And, I'm sure the fact that, if they're, well, I don't know. Okay. All right. I might check. What's the name of the town?
The town, what is the town's name? You know what? Let's random roll. Oops. Let's flip everything over first. Riverbend, the town of Riverbend.
Okay.
They're going to be. They're probably. They're going. We're we're going to be near the town in a couple of days. They're going to be swinging in kind of soon after that. And yeah, they're looking for any and all.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, thank you, Doris. I appreciate it.
She gives you a big, not quite sisterly, but not quite motherly, but just very friendly, just warm hug.
All right.
She's like, you look out for yourself.
Hey, you too.
Will she look after herself? We'll find out next time.